In the vastness of the galaxy, countless stars shone like jewels, each guarding worlds teeming with life and history. Among these civilizations, humans were a name few remembered. Most dismissed them as a myth, a fable told by storytellers long before the current empires rose to power. The tales spoke of a fragile species that had once lived on a tiny blue planet, capable of incredible courage, yet doomed to disappear. For centuries, humans were nothing more than whispers in alien libraries, dusty records, and old tales told to young explorers. The elders of the galaxy's great council often chuckled at the stories. Humans, they would say, are just a bedtime story for curious children. Few imagined that the fable could be real, and fewer still imagined that humans could still exist. Yet, far from the known trade routes, and beyond the maps of even the bravest explorers, Earth thrived in secret. Humans had survived. Not by hiding, but by evolving. They learned to adapt to the dangers of their planet and to the harshness of the stars. Slowly, quietly, they advanced, mastering technologies that could rival the most powerful empires. Their evolution was unseen, their strength underestimated. But no one knew this yet. It began with a warning. Across the galaxy, systems fell one by one to a mysterious force known as the Scifi. Unlike any enemy before, the Scifi were relentless and precise. Their ships moved with perfect coordination. Their weapons destroyed entire fleets with terrifying efficiency, and their strategy seemed flawless. Panic spread through the council of the galaxy's leaders. Star systems that had once felt safe were now under siege, and the council's strongest fleets could do nothing to stop the Scifi. A debate erupted among the council. "We must find a way to fight them," demanded High Chancellor Zoran of the Androlan Empire. "We cannot simply surrender our worlds." "But how?" asked Minister Virel of the Zalari Confederation. "Their technology is beyond our understanding. Every attack we launch fails. Every plan we make collapses. If we continue like this, the Scifi will consume us all." And yet, in the midst of despair, a signal arrived. At first, the council thought it was a joke. A tiny, encrypted transmission carrying the unmistakable signature of humanity. The council's historians leaned forward in disbelief. The humans, they were alive? The message was simple. "We will answer the call. We will fight." Some laughed. Others shook their heads. Could a species dismissed as a myth truly possess the power to stand against the Scifi? Still, the message was undeniable. Humanity had reached out, ready to act. Curiosity overcame skepticism. The council dispatched a small group of scouts to the coordinates given in the human message. When the scouts arrived, they found Earth intact, vibrant, and more technologically advanced than any expected. Massive ships floated in orbit, sleek and powerful, humming with energy. Ground facilities sprawled across continents. Not just surviving, but thriving. Humans, the scouts realized, had not only endured, they had prepared. Captain Eliana Voss was the first human to meet the alien scouts. She stood aboard the flagship Resolute, her posture calm and confident. She was not large, nor did she have an imposing presence. Yet every gesture radiated authority. "You came to check on us," she said simply. "You see now that humans are real, and we can fight." The aliens stared in shock. This was no fragile species, no myth to tell children at night. These were beings who had taken control of their destiny, who had mastered the tools of war and strategy in ways no one in the galaxy had anticipated. "Your fleets, your weapons," one scout stammered. "They rival the Androlan Empire." "Yes," Eliana replied. "And we have more than that. We have something the Scifi do not understand. Our mind, our will, our ability to adapt. If we fight together, we can stop them." The council could not refuse. They needed every advantage, and humans were offering theirs. A coalition was formed, though with caution. Humans would fight, but on their own terms. They would lead operations that required ingenuity, flexibility, and creativity qualities the Council's fleets had long forgotten. The humans' first mission was to intercept a Zerathi fleet approaching the distant star system of Lurantis. The Zerathi, confident and overconfident, had expected an easy conquest, but they had not counted on humans. Captain Voss organized her fleet with precision. "We will not match them, ship for ship," she told her commanders. "We will outthink them, outmaneuver them, and strike where they least expect it. Every attack they plan against us will fail, because we do not play by their rules." The humans launched into battle with a combination of daring and precision that stunned the alien observers. Using decoy ships, unexpected hyperspace jumps, and coordinated strikes, the human fleet disoriented the Zerathi. One by one, enemy ships were disabled or destroyed. The Zerathi, accustomed to overwhelming their enemies with brute force, were confused and frustrated. Lieutenant Mara Lee piloted a small attack craft that darted through enemy lines like a bird weaving through a storm. Her movements were unpredictable, yet precise. She disabled the weapons systems of a massive Zerathi cruiser before anyone even realized what had happened. "This is incredible," whispered an alien observer. "They are thinking differently. They are inventing as they fight." Even the Zerathi began to notice. Their strategy, so carefully calculated, could not anticipate human unpredictability. Every move the humans made seemed to turn their own power against them. For the first time in the galaxy's history, a species previously dismissed as a myth was proving to be a force the Zerathi could not ignore. By the end of the engagement, the human-led coalition had won a decisive victory. The Zerathi were forced to retreat, their pride wounded and their plans disrupted. For the Council and the aliens, disbelief turned into awe. Humans, once thought fragile and extinct, had just saved a star system. The victory was more than tactical. It was symbolic. Humanity had answered a call that no one else dared to respond to. The fable was real, and it was alive. Every alien witnessing the humans realized that stories they had dismissed for centuries contained a lesson. Strength is not always measured by size, power, or history. Sometimes, it is measured by courage, intelligence, and unity. That night, aboard the Resolute, Captain Voss looked at the stars beyond Lurantis. "This is only the beginning," she said quietly. "The Zerathi are not finished. They will come back stronger. But we will be ready. Humanity will not be a fable any longer. We will show the galaxy what it truly means to fight for life, for hope, and for freedom." And so, humanity stepped out of legend and into reality. The galaxy had dismissed them as a story. But now, they were a warning and a promise. The fable was no more. Humans were here, and they would fight. The galaxy had changed. Where once humans were whispered about as a forgotten myth, now their name sparked hope and fear alike. The victories at Lurantis had shown the Council and alien civilizations that humanity was not fragile, and they were not gone. Humans were alive, and they had a way of fighting that no other species could match. Captain Eliana Voss stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, watching the galaxy scroll by on the holographic display. Her eyes were sharp, calculating each movement of the fleet. Beside her, Lieutenant Mara Lee adjusted the trajectory of her small attack craft, her fingers moving with precision over the control panel. The air was tense, but the humans were calm. "We have new intel," said Dr. Kiran Shah, the lead engineer and strategist. He was lean, with bright eyes that seemed to see the inner workings of every machine. "The Zerathi are rebuilding their fleets. They are studying our tactics, adapting. Next time, they will expect our moves, or at least they will try." Eliana nodded. Then we will give them something they cannot expect. She turned to her commanders. Humanity does not just survive. Humanity wins. Remember that. Their next mission was far more dangerous. The Zarathi had established a stronghold in the nebula of Virus, a massive cloud of gas and asteroids that made sensor readings unreliable. No fleet had ever attacked the Zarathi there successfully. Many alien commanders had argued against it, calling the mission impossible, but humans saw it differently. Impossible, Mara said with a grin. Just means they think they can predict us. They can't. The humans launched their fleet in small, seemingly disconnected groups. While alien allies preferred large formations, humans preferred speed, agility, and the element of surprise. Their ships darted between asteroids, weaving through nebula storms, using the environment to hide from enemy sensors. Each maneuver was risky, but humans had learned to take calculated risks. In the heart of the nebula, the Zarathi fleet waited, confident. They had been watching human tactics for months and believed they had learned their weaknesses. Their flagship, the Zarath, led the formation, massive and menacing. Captain Voss remained calm. They think they know us. Let's give them a demonstration. Humans launched their first strike. Mara Lee led a squadron of small attack crafts through the dense clouds, appearing behind the enemy fleet, where sensors said no ship could reach. They disabled the engines of several Zarathi vessels before retreating back into the nebula. Confusion spread through the enemy lines. The Zarathi commanders were frustrated. Their calculations, their strategies, their experience, they could not counter the unpredictable attacks of humans. Dr. Shah's team worked in real time, scanning enemy frequencies and hacking communication channels. The humans intercepted messages, feeding false coordinates and commands into the Zarathi fleet. Ships turned the wrong way, collided with each other, or ran into hazards in the nebula. The Zarathi had never faced an enemy that could bend the rules of battle like this. Alien commanders observing from the sidelines were stunned. They are inventing as they fight, said Admiral Luvic of the Zalari Confederation. They do not follow patterns. They create patterns that do not exist. Eliana smiled faintly. They are human. They are human. Hours passed, and the battle reached its climax. The humans coordinated a daring maneuver. They lured the Zarathi flagship into a trap, using decoy ships and feigned retreats. Once the Zarath entered the ambush, human fighters and allied ships struck simultaneously from multiple angles. The flagship's defenses, though powerful, could not handle attacks coming from unpredictable vectors. Explosions lit the nebula like fireworks. The Zarathi retreated once again, leaving the humans in control of the Virus Nebula. Casualties were heavy, but the victory was decisive. Humanity's reputation spread faster than any warship could travel. Across the galaxy, other species began to view humans not as fragile creatures from an old story, but as a symbol of resilience and hope. Amid the celebration, the humans did not become arrogant. Captain Voss gathered her leaders in the strategy room. This is not over, she said. The Zarathi are learning. Each time we fight, they adapt. We cannot rely only on what we know. We must innovate, continue to evolve, and push ourselves further. Dr. Shah nodded. We've already begun. I have new designs for ships that can move faster, weapons that can penetrate their shields, and AI systems that can predict their next move. Mara added, and pilots ready to use them. We're not just fighting to survive, we're fighting to lead. The humans' ingenuity became their greatest weapon. They discovered ways to use the environment to their advantage, turning nebula storms, asteroid fields, and gravitational anomalies into traps for the Zarathi. They adapted enemy technology, studying Zarathi ships they had captured, learning to turn their systems against them. No other species in the galaxy had mastered this level of creativity in warfare. The humans also forged strong bonds with alien allies. Species that once doubted humanity began to trust them. sharing intelligence, ships, and resources. Captain Voss insisted on collaboration, knowing that no single species could defeat the Zarathi alone. "We are stronger together," she said. "But we must lead. Because leadership requires vision, courage, and the willingness to act when others hesitate." Even as victories mounted, the humans faced moral challenges. Some alien races feared that humans might dominate the coalition, using their ingenuity to control others. Captain Voss addressed these concerns openly, showing respect for each ally and emphasizing cooperation. She believed that leadership was not about ruling, but about inspiring. Weeks later, intelligence arrived about the Zarathi's ultimate weapon, a massive fortress fleet hidden in the Andarian Rift, a dangerous region filled with energy storms and debris. This fleet was capable of destroying entire planets. If the Zarathi deployed it, many worlds would fall. The Council knew they had to act, and they looked to humanity to lead the charge. Captain Voss studied the reports. "This will be the greatest challenge yet," she said. "But humans have never fought the impossible and lost. It is time to show the galaxy the full strength of humanity." And the plan was audacious. Using a combination of stealth, speed, and intelligence, humans would strike the fortress fleet before it could fully activate. Mara Lee's fighters would penetrate its defenses, while Dr. Shah's team disabled energy shields and communications. The human-led coalition would attack from multiple directions, overwhelming the enemy's coordination. Preparation took days. Ships were repaired, crews trained, and strategies refined. Every detail was considered. But Captain Voss knew that victory would depend on adaptability in the moment. "Plans are only the first step," she said. "Victory belongs to those who can change faster than the enemy." The human fleet entered the Andarian Rift. Energy storms crackled around them, debris floated like deadly obstacles, and sensors barely worked. Yet the humans moved with precision, weaving between dangers and staying ahead of the Zarathi fleet. When the enemy emerged, they were met with attacks from unexpected angles. Ships that seemed to appear out of nowhere disabled key enemy vessels, while decoy fleets drew the main forces into traps. The Zarathi were stunned. Their confidence shattered. Every calculation they had made failed. The humans were not just fighting. They were leading a dance of strategy and precision that the enemy could not comprehend. By the end of the engagement, the Zarathi fortress fleet was destroyed. The galaxy had witnessed a species once thought extinct become a decisive force. Humans had turned the tide of the war, proving that courage, ingenuity, and adaptability could overcome even the most advanced enemies. Captain Voss stood on the bridge, looking at the debris of the battlefield. "We've won today," she said quietly. "But this is only the beginning. The Zarathi will come again. And next time, it may be even harder. Humanity must be ready, not just to fight, but to inspire every species to stand together." As the human fleet moved to regroup, alien commanders approached, their expressions filled with respect. They had witnessed something extraordinary. The humans were no longer a fable, no longer a myth. They were a force, a spark of hope, and a symbol that even the smallest or once forgotten species could shape the fate of the galaxy. And in that moment, the humans knew the truth of their own legend. They were not only survivors, they were leaders, innovators, and defenders of hope. The galaxy would remember this day, and every day after, that humanity had answered the call to fight, and in doing so, had shown what it truly meant to be human. The galaxy held its breath. Across countless star systems, every species knew that the final confrontation with the Zarathi was approaching. Their ultimate fleet, rebuilt and strengthened after defeats at Lurantis and Virus, loomed in the shadows of the Andarian Rift. It was a fleet designed to dominate, to destroy, and to erase entire civilizations from the stars. And at the center of the coalition stood humanity. The humans, once dismissed as a myth, were now the leaders of a united force, the spark around which hope had gathered. Captain Eliana Voss reviewed the battle plans aboard the flagship Resolute, her face calm, her mind sharp. Every ship, every squadron, every pilot and engineer was prepared. Every move had been calculated, but she knew that in war, adaptability would matter most. Dr. Kiran Shah worked nearby, monitoring energy outputs and enemy signals. "They've reinforced their fleet with new technology," he said, eyes scanning the glowing screens. "They have stronger shields, faster ships, and automated systems we have never seen before. This will be the hardest fight yet." "Then we fight harder," Eliana replied. "We do not fight because it is easy. We fight because it is necessary. And humanity has never backed down from what is necessary." The fleet moved into position, entering the Andarian Rift under a cloak of stealth. The dense energy storms and debris fields made navigation treacherous. But humans thrived in challenges others would avoid. Lieutenant Mara Lee piloted her strike craft at incredible speed, weaving through the dangers as if the obstacles themselves were part of the plan. She grinned at the screens. The bigger the danger, the better the story. The Zarathi detected the coalition just as humans anticipated. Their flagship, the massive Zarath Reborn, led the fleet, surrounded by hundreds of supporting ships. Energy shields shimmered with deadly light, weapons powered to maximum. They had learned from previous defeats, and they were determined to crush humanity once and for all. But humans had a plan that even the Zarathi could not imagine. Instead of a direct attack, they split into multiple small fleets, each attacking from unexpected directions. Decoy fleets drew the Zarathi into false battles, while the main strike force, led by Mara, penetrated deep into the enemy formation. The battle began with precision and chaos entwined. Mara's fighters darted between ships, disabling critical systems, before retreating. Dr. Shah's team hacked into enemy communications, feeding false orders that caused confusion. Alien allies, inspired by human courage and tactics, followed the humans' lead, striking where the Zarathi least expected. Admiral Luvic, observing from an Androlan command station, whispered in amazement. "They are not just fighting. They are directing the entire battle." Captain Voss coordinated every move. Her commands were clear, concise, and confident. "Strike now," she ordered. "Focus on the shield generators. Disable their weapons. Keep moving. Do not let them predict us." The humans' ingenuity showed in every attack. They used gravitational anomalies to hurl enemy ships into debris, and manipulated energy storms to disable weapon systems. They even turned some captured Zarathi ships against their own fleet, exploiting weaknesses no one had seen before. Hours passed. The Zarathi fought fiercely, refusing to yield. Their flagship unleashed waves of energy that destroyed dozens of human ships. But humans adapted instantly. Every loss was met with a new tactic, a new strategy, a new way to turn the enemy's strength into weakness. On the bridge of the Resolute, Captain Voss watched the battle unfold. She knew that victory required more than skill. It required inspiration. She sent a message to all Allied fleets. Fight for your worlds. Fight for freedom. Fight for hope. Humanity stands with you, and together, we are unstoppable. The message spread like fire. Alien pilots who had once doubted humanity now fought with renewed courage, matching human unpredictability with bravery and determination. The coalition, united under humans' leadership, pressed the attack, and slowly, inexorably, the Zarathi fleet began to falter. Mara Lee led a daring maneuver against the Zarathi flagship. Using the thick debris field as cover, her squadron approached the massive ship from an angle the enemy had never defended. They struck the shield generators simultaneously, creating a momentary opening. Human capital ships poured energy into the breach, and the Zarathi flagship shuddered under the assault. The Zerathi commander, a figure of fear and pride, realized too late that humans had outsmarted them. Their fleet, once confident and organized, was now in disarray. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and their coordination collapsed. Humanity's vision and courage had turned the tide. Captain Voss gave the final order. All forces, concentrate on the heart of their fleet. Strike together. End this now. The attack was relentless. Human ships, allied fleets, and converted Zerathi vessels struck in perfect harmony. Explosions illuminated the rift, shaking the space around them. Slowly, one by one, the enemy ships fell. The Zerath reborn, the pride of the Zerathi armada, erupted in a blinding explosion, marking the collapse of their ultimate weapon. Silence followed the battle. The Andarian rift was littered with wreckage, but the humans and their allies had survived. The Zerathi were defeated, scattered, and broken. Across the galaxy, systems that had trembled in fear celebrated the courage and strength of a species that no one had believed could survive. Captain Voss stood on the bridge, exhausted but unbowed. She looked at the stars, at the endless possibilities beyond, and knew that humanity had changed the galaxy forever. "We did not fight for glory," she said softly. "We fought because we had to. And in doing so, we have shown the galaxy what humanity truly is." Dr. Shah placed a hand on her shoulder. "They will remember us," he said. "Not as a fable, not as a myth. They will remember us as a force that inspires hope, courage, and unity." Mara Lee smiled, leaning back in her pilot chair. "We've always had it in us. Now, everyone knows it." In the days that followed, humanity's victory became legend. Alien civilizations honored the humans, not with fear, but with respect and admiration. The Council recognized Captain Voss and her fleet as leaders of the coalition, a symbol of what could be achieved when courage, intelligence, and determination were combined. But humans remained humble. They did not seek dominion over others, nor did they demand power for themselves. Their goal was simple: to defend life, protect freedom, and inspire hope. Humanity had answered the call to fight, and in doing so, they had shown that even a species once dismissed as fragile could become a beacon for the galaxy. The final message from Captain Voss to the coalition was short, but profound. "We are not a fable. We are here. We fight. We inspire. And together, we will face the stars." For the first time in galactic history, a species that had been forgotten, dismissed, and thought extinct had united countless civilizations in hope and victory. Humanity had proven that strength was not only in power, but in courage, creativity, and unity. They were no longer a myth. They were leaders, heroes, and a symbol that even the smallest spark could ignite a galaxy-wide revolution of hope. As the humans repaired their ships, trained new pilots, and planned for the future, they knew the galaxy would not be quiet forever. New challenges would arise, new threats would appear, but humanity had learned its true strength. It was not just in ships, weapons, or tactics. It was in the human spirit, the spirit of courage, intelligence, and hope. And so, the galaxy looked to humanity not as a legend, but as a guide. From myth to reality, from fable to leader, humans had stepped into their destiny among the stars. Their story was not finished, it had only begun. The stars stretched out before them, infinite and full of promise. And humanity, once a forgotten fable, was ready to face them all.